Hey guys, so I've finally mounted the DIY motor mounts onto the torque board. Now, today I just wanted to quickly talk about many problems that will happen when you're building your own DIY electric skateboard. Especially when you're using different brands, like cheaper parts. I've gone through all the stupid mistakes, all the stupid things you have to deal with. First of all, let's talk about like cheap motor mounts like this one. I think this one, like 20-30 bucks on Amazon or something like that. The problem with this one, it's made for caliber trucks. Now, it might not fit right away, so you might have to actually shave off some of the trucks or shave off some of the inside with a Dremel. So Dremel is an absolute must. If you don't have a Dremel, definitely get one. I have two. I have a portable one. I started with this one. It's actually one I bought for my dog to cut her nails, but she didn't really like the experience. So Dremel, awesome. You can just basically shave off everything. That's one of the things you'll have to do, and if you don't have it, you might try to like DIY and just mess it up, or just take longer time. That's one thing. Another thing I've ran into is an issue. These trucks are made, the axles are too long, so when I put the wheels, it just goes straight here, so I can't even screw it in. This much of the axle is left with these wheels, because these trucks are not built for these smaller wheels. So to get around that, you can use spacers that you normally use in your wheels, right? And that helps solve it. And then I put some additional, maybe two washers to reach the thread. So I'm sort of making what's not to make for it to work. So that's another issue. Another issue I'm running into are these motor mounts screws. Right. So I was going to use with the 5.0 motors, you don't have that much space between the pulley and the hole. So I was using Phillips screw. And I couldn't tighten the motor mount without taking the pulley out, so I have to go with these. What are these called? Allen wrench. And also another thing, don't try to get one of these. Is this an Allen wrench? Yeah. Get one of these long ones. This is a total time saver, especially when you have. When you're working with something like this, where you have to, after you mount it, you're gonna want to just tighten the motors down. Now this is the issue with the 5.0 motors. So a lot of little things you can get into. Another problem I had was with these bigger 100mm rubber wheels, I was getting wheel bite, barely getting a wheel bite. But to really satisfy, I added a 1/2-inch riser. Now it's just perfect. Another issue I ran into is that initially I forgot that I was going to put the motors inwards. So now I'm like, okay, I'm going to put the motor here. I'm going to put the controller. I barely have enough room so it doesn't touch the motors. It should be fine. It should go like these. But that's just way too close. So that's something I didn't think about. Some problems arising. I can move the trucks just a tad back and make a little room, but now I have no room for a battery box. So some issues, and also also another point is these motor mounts are way too long. It's really nice that I can use it, but I really don't need all of this space. I can just move the motor mount up and maybe cut 1/2 inch. So those are some of the design issues. And later on, I'm going to actually make my own parts so it fits perfect. And that's why this is just a prototype using things and running into problems. So it takes, a lot of people think, okay, it's really easy to make a skateboard. Well, it is if you use the exact parts made for it. Maybe you get a DIY kit. Even then, sometimes you have issues with the fits. It's not a perfect world out there. So I do highly suggest for your first board, just buy it. If you absolutely want to make it, buy one, write it, learn about electric skateboards, and then try to make one so Yeah, at least you have a board that's working. That's, you know. But yeah, or get a kit that's, well, try to get a kit that, you know, has everything working out of the box, I guess. But right now, all the DIY kits I've tried, they're not that great. Maybe the hub motors are pretty easy because you don't have to deal with the motor mounts and stuff. You just slap the, you know, the motors on. But the belts and the trucks, I mean, just, yeah, sometimes it's a sort of a headache. So I've spent 2 full days on the battery, making the battery, 2.5 days. I've spent a whole day trying to make these motor mounts fit on the half a day. So I spent 3 full days already. I'm almost done though. I don't have a battery box. I have this battery box I might be able to use. Oh yeah, maybe I'll use this one. But the clearance might be not too bad actually. Yeah, maybe I'll use this one. So this battery box could be good, and later it's big enough where I can upgrade to 2 of them. Just for the time being, this is just all prototyping. Anyway, I'm just telling you some of the issues you can get into, and just take your time. Your first board should take you at least a few days, so you can take your time. If you run into problems, I mean, if you're not building your own battery, then you can cut that time, obviously. Even then, man, you come into a lot of stupid problems you have to deal with, or you strip a screw. I've stripped a screw on the motor mount. Oh my god, it's just like pain. Never strip a screw. Or I've took out the axle of the motor, try to replace it, or I've actually cut it so it fits D-type pulleys. I've done some, you know, weird things just to make everything work with spare parts. But that's part of the challenge. And once you get through it, then you can, you know, build a skateboard out of any, you know, make it work. Something this is not supposed to work. None of this is supposed to fit. This is not supposed to fit. These wheels are not supposed to fit. Nothing was actually, you know, so I had to really just, that's why it's also taking me a long time. But, you know, when you do that, you learn a lot more. So just be aware, if you're not buying a complete kit that's made for it, at least buy something, the trucks and the motor mounts are made for it, then it makes your job a whole lot easier. If you try to cheap out and just try to buy like cheap ass DIY mounts and, you know, some random ass trucks and try to fit it together, and it's just like headache. And also, as far as the motor mounts, try to get one that ties down with one screw. And also get one that's not round. The rounded ones, they just flop around really easy, and you have to actually drill some holes and to really secure it. Those really cheap ones. So this type style is pretty good. The torque board ones are pretty good. Anything that has like a particular shape, because even if the screw comes off, you're still sort of latching on there. It's another safety. Or the best one are like the evolved type, where you have 3 screws and it just sets, or you don't have to worry about. I think that's the best design because it just keeps, you know, you don't have to worry about anything falling off, and it's just secure on there with actual 3 screws onto the thing. So those are the trucks I might start designing. I'm not sure if I'm going to sell parts, but yeah, eventually I'm going to get into making everything, all my parts. But I just want to share some of the problems you'll get into, and you certainly have to have the tools. Like get a Dremel, make sure you get are these Allen wrenches? Bunch of these long ones. These are so handy. There are times these short ones is just not going to work. You know, some basic stuff. It's just going to make your life so much easier. And yeah, have a great day.